everyone, welcome back to my channel, my Jet. So today I'm going to be eating a tempura curry tofu croquette that is stuffed with cheese. And I have some sauteed vegetables with garlic and sesame. I have some little pickled onions here on the side. I have some white miso soup, and for dessert I have some pears. And I will be drinking, just gonna move all this. I'm gonna be drinking some roasted barley tea, which is called mugicha in Japanese. Alright, so without further ado, itadakimasu. I think I'm going to start with the soup while it's nice and hot. Just mix that a little. Got some onion there. Oh, that hits the spot. I love miso soup. And actually what I like to do with mine is, while the water is boiling, I cook carrots and onions together. I didn't have any carrots, so I only put the onions. And I find it gives a nice vegetable-y sweet taste to the broth by the time you add in the miso. Quite nice. So this croquette is so good. I'm really lucky, actually. The only place that I know that you can get it is at a Sunday market that happens once a month, and I couldn't go this month because I had my school's sports festival and I had to go there. But luckily, my Japanese mom, who takes such good care of me, brought me some tofu curry croquette. So I'm very lucky, and I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. So I know it's not necessarily the most polite thing to do, to cut your food with your chopsticks, but I wanted to show you inside what it looks like. Yum! So the outside is kind of yellowed from the curry, and inside there's some cheese. You can kind of see it here. It oozed out. So I'm so hungry. Let's taste this. Oh my God. Oh, that is so satisfying, guys. The tofu is like this thick, and it's so meaty and flavorful. Or with that little bit of cheese. Have me a little pickled onion. These pickled onions are actually my Japanese mom's mom. She makes them. Her and her husband grow tiny baby onions in their farm backyard. Everyone here kind of has a farm, so I don't want to say farm where you're like imagining this big lot full of land, but just like a space to grow things that goes beyond the size of a garden. So yeah, they pickle their own onions, and they're very sweet. It's quite nice. They're a little bit spicy, but it's not an overpowering kind of spice. And I found me some greens at the farmer's market. I need my vegetables. So I just like sauteed some garlic and sesame oil, and boom, put in the greens, and like a minute later, done. I'm so hungry. I did not eat enough for lunch. So I've just been impatiently waiting these last 20 minutes. I'm like, is it time to eat? Is it time to eat? I didn't want to eat too early. Nothing went in my mouth there. That's what she said. Yeah. Get my dose of veggies. It's not working out for me. One thing that's really funny here is when people see you eat with chopsticks, they're like, oh, Estelle, you can use chopsticks? Yes. Yes, I can. In fact, most people in the West, or, okay, I don't want to overgeneralize, but in America, if you live, generally speaking, close to a big city or in a big city, at this point, 2017, most people know how to use chopsticks. They're so mind blown. And then they ask you questions like, can you eat sashimi? Yes, I can. Can you eat sushi? Yes, I can. Are you okay with Japanese food? Of course I am. Because if I wasn't okay, this would be a really bad year. I feel bad if someone comes here and they're like, I don't like the food here. You're gonna have a tough time. Food is so good, what's not to like? And there's a lot of variety, you know, like, I think back home a lot of people think that like Japanese people are constantly eating fish and raw fish to boot, but it's not like people are eating sushi or sashimi every day. Obviously. If you like meat, there's meat. A lot of different noodle and rice dishes. I would actually say the biggest challenge is getting enough vegetables, to be honest. Like, you can always order a salad to come with your side. It's often the same kind of things. And yeah, it's very carb and protein. But I do have a lot of pickled things. You just never eat them, you know, like in a large quantity, because that would be gross. So you can kind of get vegetables in, but not that much. You really have to make an effort, I find. Thank you so much to my Japanese mom for thinking of me. It's so delicious. I actually ate so much this past week. We had a welcome party last week for me. It was also a good goodbye party for someone. And then after the sports festival, they also go out to eat. It's like buffet style. You eat a lot. So yeah, I've been stuffing my face, and it was all worth it. So originally this morning I was like, when I come home tonight, I'm gonna have a light dinner. And then this showed up and I was like, psh, light dinner, goodbye. It's just too good to pass up. I don't want to keep it in my fridge like too long because it's not gonna be as good then, not gonna be as fresh. So happy about these greens. So I've probably said this before in another mukbang. My first one, I think. I can't eat like massive amounts of food, which totally goes against exactly what I said that I've been eating too much this past week. But I felt the after effects. Yeah, I can't eat necessarily large amounts of food in one sitting. I feel really uncomfortable after. I have all these like stomach problems. So yeah, my mukbang is not necessarily about eating a huge amount of food, but I hope that the food that I do eat and do show is fun and it's interesting and it looks delicious, and most importantly, it makes you hungry. Garlic. So I'm really excited for tonight. I don't know if you guys know or watch the show Outlander. It premiered yesterday. Yay! So I can't wait to watch it. And it's season 3 now. Oh, there's some cheese. Good. It's a little pickled onion, of course. The flavor is so rich and delicious. I really like season 1. Season 2, I didn't like as much when they were in France. Of course, I love the costumes, being a costume fanatic. I really like the costumes, but I didn't really like the storyline. It was a bit like, oh, magically you have this, and then it was overly dramatized. And at the end of the day, like, they go back to Scotland anyways. I don't know, it felt kind of like a waste of time. And, I definitely enjoy the atmosphere that the show has when they're in Scotland, because that's where the show's based. I know season 3, they shot in other locations. It's not always Scotland, which is fine. So I'm really curious to see what this season will be like, because I found season 2 to be a bit more like up and down, but still fun to watch. And I actually just started reading the book. I know. I'm actually almost done the first book, so it's been fun. I've basically been reading like a chapter of the book, then I go watch the episode, then I go read another chapter, then I watch the episode, and it's carried me over till today. Now Droughtlander is over. Do any of you guys watch Outlander, and what do you think of it? And or what are some other shows you watch? I'm super stoked for next month will be Stranger Things. Definitely watch that one. I don't feel like it changes your life to watch it, but it's an entertaining show. I definitely love with Stranger Things how all the viewers you'll get really upset over Barb, her storyline, because I totally agree. I was watching the show and I was like, okay, hang on. It's one kid disappears and everybody freaks out, and the town's all doesn't know what to do with itself, and then Barb disappears and it's like no one cares. You don't see her parents, you don't hear about a search party. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, she's not there, whatever. Are you serious? So I thought that storyline was really odd. I hope that in season 2 they kind of deal with that better or something. I don't know if she'll make a reappearance, if she's not really dead or she really is. Anyways, I really like the show, but I definitely found that part was like, what? A bit of a lack of continuity there. See, on Sunday, I had my school sports festival. Now, Estelle, do they have sport festivals in Canada? Not to my knowledge, not in my experience. So here's the differences. In Japan, of course, they have PE class, but they have this one day in September where everyone has to partake in this big, like, physical activity. So they do like relay races, 100-meter races, dances, tug of war, like this big jump rope, just a bunch of different things. And no, we don't have that. Like, you know, if our basketball team has a game, then we get to watch a game. If the soccer team has a game, you know, stuff like that, you guys know. So I had to explain to them, like, no, we don't have this. I was called in to participate in the jump rope, the giant jump rope, and the tug of war. Women against men. Guess who won? Not that obviously men would win over women, but they definitely did win by a landslide. We actually had to do tug of war twice. Then the second time, all the women were like, no, why? But we added a couple women on our side, and the second time around, we won. It was definitely interesting, to say the least. I mean, we don't have this back home, so it was all new for me. I'm really glad I got to participate, because if not, I basically would have been sitting there from like 9 to 3 just watching these kids, and that's fine for a little while. But all day, it's a bit long. And one of the interesting things is some sports, both of the boys and girls do, like the relay race, the tug of war, the jump rope, but it's very segregated. It's like, except for when their feet are like bound together, most of the stuff was separate. Like the girls did a dance, like a traditional Japanese dance, and then something more modern, just the girls. And then just the boys did this one thing that was like more physically exerting. So I won't say much on that, but I think you can kind of guess where I'm going with how bizarre it is to see, you know, like boys only this, girls only that. It's Japan after all. During dinner after the festival, I actually asked my coworkers, oh, you know, like I noticed some of the boys did this, but not the girls. I'm like, oh, how come? Playing the fool. And they're like, oh, well, you know, the girls did dance. I'm like, oh, yeah, they danced. They're like, yeah, and the other things, maybe, you know, you need to be a bit stronger. I was like, because girls aren't strong. Of course. Of course. But, you know. One dinner, fighting over junior high gender roles for a sports team, for a sports day. It's probably not going to change the country, so, you know, I just was like, oh, that's surprising, and kind of just left it at that. I'm like, back home, this would not fly. People would complain. So basically, one down. 2 more to go. Mm. Miso soup is so good. It's obviously thanks to the miso paste, which is very good. This is so satisfying. Seriously, I like I said before, I really didn't eat enough at lunch. I made myself a bento like 2.5 or even 3 weeks ago, and I knew I wasn't gonna eat it right away, so I put it in the freezer. And then for today, I defrosted it because I was working at the office. Since the sports festival was yesterday, I didn't have to teach any classes. I still had to work though. Yeah, so I had my bento. It was okay. I don't know. I don't think I'll freeze it again. Everything was kind of soggy. So I kind of only ate half of it. It wasn't really that good. So yeah, when I got home, it was like 5. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so hungry. I can't eat at 5 p.m. guys. 5 p.m. is when you like have a snack. So I was definitely starving for this meal. I love mugicha. The last piece. Yay. I have another one in the fridge. Yay me. On to dessert. So, truth of the matter is, I'm not actually a big fan of pears, but contrary to what you're actually supposed to do with fruit, I don't like eating ripe pears. I know that's like a travesty and you should eat fruit when they're properly ripe. I totally agree. But the texture, like I love the flavor, but the texture of the pear when it's ripe, I don't know, I can't do it. It's like cantaloupe. I hate cantaloupe. But in the case of cantaloupe, it's the flavor. Anyways, but these pears are actually like nice and crunchy. Like an apple, like almost that crunchy. So they're actually quite good. And they're huge. They're like this big. And this one is actually half from one that I cut last week. And I just peeled it now, and like it doesn't go brown. Like it doesn't really oxidize. I mean, it slightly oxidizes, but it's, you know, like, it's impressive. So I have 2 more. So these ones I really like. And they are also from my Japanese mom. Like half my meal was provided by my Japanese mom. Friends of hers, they grow them. And so regularly she goes to like the parking lot of the drugstore and then buys like these big crates of pears. So I always joke with her, telling her she's doing a drug deal.